Hey you guys, what's going on? My name is Reed, the writer. All right, we need to talk about it. The Barbie movie. I saw it a few days ago. The marketing for this movie was absolutely genius. It just was. Whoever was on the marketing team for Barbie deserves a pay increase, like a raise. They really do. Because I had no clue what it was. In my mind, I thought I was gonna watch like a rom-com, maybe slight romance, because, you know, it's Barbie and Ken, maybe a relationship kind of like festering in the waters. Maybe something similar to, one of my favorite movies is like 13 going on 30. So I'm thinking, okay, something like around that, enchanted princess type vibes, where here you have Barbie, this like doll, this like non-human who's perfect, who's like the embodiment of perfection, enters into the real world where us real women, we're not perfect, we have our flaws, we're struggling. And, you know, Barbie would do her Barbie magic and make the most of the human world and learn a lesson and take it back to her to Barbie land, or maybe stay in the real world. And I was kind of already thinking that based off like one of the commercials I saw of Margot Robbie like entering into like the real world. And like that was my conception of what I thought I was going to go see. I genuinely was very excited to watch this movie. And one being like, I wasn't a Barbie fan growing up as a kid. I actually, the only dolls I played with was the Bratz. The Bratz doll, like, for sure. Yeah, that was it. Like, I really played with them maybe a little bit. Then other than that, I was messing around with Legos and other toys, like some action figures and stuff. But just the thought of like me watching like a really girly movie, which I'm not even gonna lie, I've been dying for a really feminine, beautiful movie, princess type vibes, like Rapunzel movie for so long. And I didn't realize how much I missed watching like those type of movies until this movie like came out. I like action movies. I don't mind what's happening now, like a little bit, but you know, women, we can be a girl boss for sure. We can take over the world. We can be the strongest avenger of them all. Like we can dominate and be the kingpin. Sure, why not? Like the prince saving you, I don't know. I kind of like that a little bit. It's just, I like those kind of movies. It's a toxic movie, but I'm always watching like Twilight, and like I love The Notebook, and like I love Enchanted, you know, and I love Cinderella. The brandy version though, the brandy version. It's marketing, you guys sold us a pipe dream. I swear on everything. This movie was nothing the way you guys marketed it whatsoever. You won because you got my money. I paid, I got snacks, I ate my little chips, ate my Takis. So you already got my money, but man, I haven't been bamboozled in a minute. Like it's been a minute since I watched a movie and it wasn't what I thought it was. The last time I felt this was during like Inception, like, and it threw me off, but like in a good way with Inception. This one was kind of different. I'm gonna give you guys a brief analysis on what the movie is, just a brief synopsis. There's this world, it's called Barbie Land. How it exists or why it exists or any of the other stuff is unclear and unknown, because it's just, I guess it's not important. Would have been important to me. I would have liked that information, but whatever. In this Barbie Land universe, these Barbies and Kens exist in this world. The world is based in matriarchy. So women rule this land. Women are the presidents, women are the construction workers, women sell you your cars, women are carpenters, women take out the trash. And we basically, we do it all. We run the world basically. The way this world is structured is it looks like a Barbie dream house, like the ones you would see from the commercial, or if you were lucky enough to have a Barbie dream house, it's exactly like that. There's barely any walls in these homes. There's food in the refrigerator, but you don't really eat the food. You pretend eat the food. There's a bathroom, so you pretend brush your teeth. You pretend take a bath, pretend, like wash yourself. In this world of matriarchy, this world run by the Barbies, you can't have Barbie without Ken, because like they're always together. They're supposed to be girlfriend, boyfriend, but friends. Barbie secretly doesn't like him. You know, she tolerates him. It's pretty evident. I picked that up the first minute Ken was on scene, that she didn't really care about him, but she was nice enough to tolerate him. The world, Kens are Kens. They don't really have any roles in the society. Unlike, you know, the Barbies, where the Barbies are dominating and making the laws and creating everything, like the structure for this world. The Kens exist to ken. They they beach. Like, what does that even mean? That they don't swim necessarily. They're not lifeguards. They're just there to exist in this world as like background characters for the Barbies. They're very subservient. They give the Barbies tons of compliments. They worship their Barbies. But we do get to meet the stereotypical Barbie and the stereotypical Ken. These two do not have a relationship, kind of. They acknowledge each other, but there's really just no foundation or relationship. Though Ken, the stereotypical Ken, blonde hair, blue-eyed, he does like Barbie, and he seems like he really does want a relationship with her, but she's not interested in that. Barbie has, like, I guess like a midlife crisis. She starts to think about like death and dying and like depression, which is like very concerning. Like once that kind of happened, I was like, oh, okay, like that's where's the therapist Barbie? Like, yeah, I was like, bro, she needs to go talk to the therapist Barbie. Instead, she goes, talks to Weird Barbie. Weird Barbie is incredibly weird. She's been manhandled abusively by whatever girl in the real world is actually playing with her. And so her hair is cut off. She has like scribbles on her face. She a mess. But you know, it's Weird Barbie. Weird Barbie tells the stereotypical Barbie that she needs to go to the real world to go meet the girl who's playing with her, to figure out what's going on with the girl, save Barbie from humanizing. Because at this point, Barbie is waking up with bad breath, which she's never had before. Her food is burnt now, so it's not like perfectly made like it was before. She's taking baths and the water, imaginary water is cold, so her life is just messing up. Plus, she's starting to experience cellulite, which when they showed it, I was like, there's the scene where Weird Barbie lifted her leg and it showed the cellulite. I was like, oh my god. It's like, what's that? It happens. It's life. Cellulite. It happens. Barbie goes on a quest to the real world. She tells all her Barbie and Ken friends, I gotta go. I gotta do this by myself. Stereotypical Ken sneaks away into Barbie's like really nice Corvette, by the way. Comes with her without asking, which I thought was hella annoying. Like that would have just bothered me, because Barbie made it very clear that she wanted to go on this quest by herself. Ken joins, and the whole time he's there, his presence is like a weight. It's just unnecessary. Like maybe he could have added something more to the story, but he just didn't. But he was there with her, so be it. Barbie enters into the real world, where she immediately gets assaulted, harassed by men. And we get to see in this real world that men are very aggressive. They're womanizers. They are sexual predators waiting to assault you with a comment, not a compliment, but like a comment on like something they like about you, just to, you know, I guess to degrade you to some sense. But Barbie never picked up on any of it until like a man groped her. Like physically groped her, and instead of the man going to prison, the man who groped her, she ends up going to prison. And yeah, it kind of threw me off right there, but I was like, whatever, it's Barbie, she's in the real world, the story's moving on. Barbie begins to look for the girl that's playing with her, and she thinks it's a teenage girl, so she ends up going to a high school to go find the young lady. Her name is Sasha. And their first interaction is Sasha calling Barbie a fascist, and just mentioning all the horrible things that Barbie has done is the reason why society is the way it is, and women have to be perfect. It's due to Barbie, and yeah, the story just continues from there. From there, the story completely goes like left and right and up and down. I liked the costume design of this film. I loved what everyone was wearing, especially the Barbies. I loved all their outfits, and it was cool. I went to the movies with my my mom. My mother played with Barbies when she was a little girl. Oh, we were like watching each scene. We got to see like campsite Barbie. We got to see like snowmobiles, snow ski, boarding, ski Barbie. My mom was like mentioning all the outfits, and my mom was like saying like, yeah, she used to have that like Barbie car and that outfit, she remembers that. And it was really cool just to see that. Once we started hitting towards the end of the film, once patriarchy got like introduced into like the Barbie land, there was a scene where Ken was throwing Barbie's clothes outside of the Barbie dream house. As he was throwing her clothes outside, he was mentioning like the names, the exact names of the outfits. So that was actually really hilarious. All details to me matter. I really appreciated that. Barbie land felt like an absolute fantasy. I loved the Barbie dream house. I loved how plasticky the world was and non-real it was. Like I love Barbie eating her breakfast. Like she would like make her breakfast, make like a Eggo waffle or whatever it was, and it was perfect, and she wouldn't even eat it. Same thing with her drinking her morning breakfast, which was like milk. She would like put the cup to her mouth and like pretend to drink it. Nothing would come out, and like that would satisfy her, and like that was an actual meal. I loved the beach. The beach in the film was fake. Like the sand wasn't real. Everything was like sculpted perfectly. Even the waves in the ocean were just like stationary. They didn't move, but it was the beach and it was the ocean. And like those little details of everything just looking not real but real, it really puts you like in a mindset of you being a little girl and pretending and playing house and having your dolls or Legos or whatever it was, and you fabricating this world and just like immersing yourself in it. Whoever came up with that concept, give that person a raise. I don't know who's gonna watch this video from the Barbie movie, but whoever that was who came up with just like that idea and those details, give that person a raise. They are doing stuff. Like that was phenomenal. The idea of Barbie fearing like death and just like thinking about like the afterlife and where she goes next, because she typically wouldn't think that, but throwing in such like a human like emotion, a human feeling, like human thoughts into the movie, I thought was like so superb. Because what it did was it transferred Barbie from just being a doll to actually her becoming like more human. And even like the side effects of her waking up and experiencing bad breath and not having a great day, and her friends were saying hi to her like downstairs, and her not like really feeling it. Like it's just because we've all been there. Like we've had those days where it's like someone wants to talk to you and you're out and about. Like one day you're happy and the next day you're not happy because you're just not feeling it. Like we've all had like those days. Idea of Barbie going into the real world. And that's what initially sold me on this movie, why I wanted to go see it. Because like I said, the movie reminded me like a little bit of Elf, a little bit of like Enchanted. And that concept in itself is what drew me to the theaters, because I wanted to see Barbie so bad be in the human world, because I wanted to see what her ideology was and what she can bring into people, especially women who don't come from her world, where in her world women are amazing, we are like dominating things, we're educated, we get Nobel prizes, we're smart, we have our own houses, we're sophisticated, we enjoy girl time. Like I was so pumped for her to bring that into the real world and like really start impacting like women. That's not what this movie was about whatsoever. And that's what I gotta say about the marketing. The marketing, y'all were playing games. Y'all knew on the marketing team, y'all knew this movie wasn't what the marketing was about, and y'all like were committed to that too. Y'all were playing games. We never would have known that the movie like was going to be like knee deep in feminism, and we were going to be tackled by patriarchy and the symbolism of like Ken and what Ken actually represented in the movie. Like my gosh, like I was going to see this movie regardless, but like, damn, if I would have known this is what the movie was actually going to be about, I maybe would have wore a different hat when going into the theaters, because I really thought I was just going to be entertained. I didn't know I was going to have like philosophical, deep thinking, critical, pondering moments where I have to think about my life and contemplate like me being a woman and all the suffrage that women go through and how hard it is being a woman, and ideology of feminism, of how you take down the patriarchy from like the outside in. It's just like, it's real crazy. I'm not here to talk about all that, because that to me is just, it's its own thing. Like, let's talk about some of the things about the movie that like genuinely like lost me. I know everyone and their mama liked Ken in the movie. I'm fine with being on my own island and thinking like this, but I thought Ken was cute for sure. Ryan Gosling all day, why not? I didn't like Ken. I like saw and I noticed his mass manipulation from like the very start. Barbie on the beach and Ken is saying, "Hi Barbie," right? Like that really popular scene that's going to be iconic until like the end of time. Everyone else is trying to say hi to Ken, and Ken is going, it's like not really feeling that. He wants his own way with Barbie. Him trying to impress Barbie by going into the ocean when he knows very well that he can't swim, but he just wanted to do it to impress her. Ken gets hurt. The Barbie doctors come to like heal and check on Ken, and we knew Ken was fine. Him asking Barbie to hold his hand all the way into like the little makeshift like hospital like on the side. I was like, okay boy, like I see what you're doing. You're really like attention seeking, which makes sense because that's like Ken's personality. Even if you were to think about Ken in like a play sense, Barbie was like the main character. Granted, Ken could have been the husband, boyfriend when you're playing, but Ken was always made to be like a side character in like this Barbie universe, which I get. I saw the manipulation from afar, especially with his friend, like the black Barbie, the black Ken, I mean. He was trying to like get Ken some ice cream, and like Ken didn't care about it, and you know, that just showed me right then and there. I was like, okay, Ken, you have your own thing going on. Hands down, he was manipulative. He was self-serving, he was selfish. He had his own agenda for being there. Because like he didn't even go with Barbie into the real world to even help her find the girl who's playing with her. He was only there for his own benefits, his own preservation, his own needs, which was ultimately just to be with Barbie, to maybe possibly get her to like him. Ken, in no way would I ever consider him a hero. I would almost paint him as like the protagonist. He was the villain of the story. And I feel like a lot of people are just missing that about like his character arc. Once Ken got into the real world and he discovered patriarchy, which like I kind of understand how he picked it up, maybe a little bit. Even though like that concept was very loose, like how do you just go into like the real world? Granted, he did come from a matriarchy, but he goes into the real world, and the only thing he picks up from this world, from this situation, is that men dominate the world, men rule the world, men are domineering, men are in charge. Men like flat screen TVs, men like beer. Women will go to men if we need to know the time, and only men have like the proper device, a watch, to provide that to women. Only thing he got from this world. Men rule the world, and I need to take this idea back to Barbie Land to indoctrinate all the other Kens and the women there to be the subservient, like basically worship us men and cut our steak and it's just weird. Like I didn't know where the movie was going from at that point. It threw me off. Okay, another thing I noticed about this movie was Midge. When I initially saw the Midge character, like when she was brought up in the film, I actually laughed. You know, Midge was a discontinued doll. No one really liked Midge, even though Midge kind of lived next door to Barbie. Did you guys notice, like, at Midge's house, there was like a gate going around her house? The movie is telling us that pregnancy is gross. Why would she be pregnant when you can be the president? Why would you be pregnant when you could be like stereotypical Barbie and like have a whole bunch of friends and party and like live your best life and have a Corvette? Like the rest of the Barbies who had like Barbie dream houses, Midge lived in a little tiny little tree house. I caught all of that. Like, the writers, don't think you guys are slick. Y'all could not get past me. Like, everyone else is focused on like the feminist plot, anti like men agenda, and like, you know, some of those other things. I'm paying attention to the smaller messages, and I saw that. I was like, Midge, pregnancy, ugh. So you're teaching us we don't want to be pregnant. Why be pregnant when you literally can have a Corvette and you can drive around? Like, and pregnancy is discontinued. Like, we're done with that. I did like Alan. I'm just gonna throw that in there. Like, Alan was my favorite character. I'm just gonna sprinkle that in there. Alan was my favorite character. Alan was the most manly man from Barbie Land. He was the only one who was not falling for the whole Barbie, you know, debacle. When Barbie Land became a patriarchy, Alan was trying to leave with America Ferrera and her daughter Sasha. They caught all the Kens at the wall, building a wall to like prevent anyone from leaving Barbie Land. Where was Alan? Alan was outside kicking and fighting the other Kens. Like, he was actually out there putting these hands, see this? Putting these hands on the other Ken. So I don't know. I thought I was there to see Barbie, but like it turns to find out that I was actually there to watch Alan. I wished that Barbie stayed in the real world. There was the most beautiful scene, and this is where I cried. I actually felt tears welling up in my eyes when Margot Robbie, Barbie, was sitting on a bench and she was trying to locate the girl who's playing with her, which, you know, turned out to be America Ferrera, not her daughter Sasha. While she was just in the process of locating this girl, she was kind of having like an out-of-body experience where she was tapping into reality, tapping into her environment. She was like listening to the trees, and she was listening to people talk, and she was watching people have like these relationships, like these really human things that she doesn't get to experience in Barbie Land. Just like, you know, being human, things not being perfect, and just enjoying the environment. Then in that scene, that same scene, she looks over and she sees like an elderly lady, and the elderly lady was absolutely beautiful, by the way. She sees this elderly lady, looks at her for a moment, and I was kind of wondering what Barbie was going to say to her. And she tells the older lady, yeah, you're beautiful. Like, you're absolutely beautiful. My eyes watered up in that moment. And I thought, just filling that out, that this was the beginning of Barbie's introduction into a non-perfect world. And maybe in this situation, Barbie would learn more about herself and more about humanity and what women actually go through on a daily basis. And I feel like that's one thing this movie, there's a couple things, but I feel like that's where this movie lost itself. Granted, the patriarchy thing, the Ken going back to Barbie Land, seeing Barbie have more human reactions with people, like I feel like that was just missing for me. America Ferrera and her daughter did not have a conclusion. When Barbie and America Ferrera and her daughter went back into the Barbie Land, America Ferrera and her daughter did have a moment where, when they were trying to restore Barbie Land back into a matriarchy, granted, they were having like really cool bonding moments, but they never got like a proper like conclusion. In that scene where Barbie was trying to figure out what was going on with the girl who was playing with her, we come to find out that America Ferrera was having like relationship issues with her daughter. Once we kind of got back to Barbie Land, I was like, okay, so where's that conclusion? Where's America Ferrera and her daughter's like moment where they actually discuss what the issue was with the relationship, why they weren't bonding, why they weren't getting along, like what was the problem? What was the solution for it? What was their moment to have like a mother and daughter moment? Like we only got feminism restoring that like ideology back into the Barbies, but we never got that mother and daughter moment. And I was like, what? Where is this? Where did it go? Sasha calling Barbie a fascist. And it's not the first time I've heard this from like a studio, from a major film. Because I remember it in the Blue Beetle like commercial, Blue Beetle's father or uncle or whatever called Batman a fascist. Okay, I don't understand why these corporations are bashing their IPs or allowing writers to write scripts that bash their IPs. Like it almost infuriates me to know that a writer would feel so comfortable calling Barbie and Barbie, her creation, the reason why she was made was to empower women, to let women know that they could have these jobs, they can be anything they want to be. A fascist? Like, that's crazy to me. Especially like with the whole Blue Beetle thing. Why are you guys trying to destroy your own IPs? Batman? Barbie? Like, who's next? It's like almost like Disney was doing the same exact thing, where you had She-Hulk, who was, you know, like belittling Hulk, Bruce Banner's like experience being the Hulk, and, you know, telling him he doesn't understand what rage or frustration or what it means to be angry is, because he's the Hulk and she's the She-Hulk, and what women go through is more powerful or more destroying than it is like what men go through. It's crazy. Barbie movie was an experience. It was an experience that I was not prepared for. I thought I paid to go on a carousel. Comes to find out, I paid to go on a wagon ride, a log ride, a train ride. And it ended with me being in a shopping cart. Like, there's so many different vehicles to this movie that I didn't know exactly where I was at or where I was even going. And like every turn, like every 20 minutes, it was a completely different experience or just different movie. The best way to sum up the Barbie movie is that it's like Neapolitan like ice cream. At first I thought I was eating strawberry ice cream, which was like the first 30 minutes of the film. After that I was eating chocolate. And like, I'm not mad about eating chocolate. Like, I don't mind women empowerment. Like, I don't mind that stuff, but I just didn't know I was eating chocolate. So I'm adjusting to the taste of that. Then all of a sudden I meet God, whose Ruth is actually like the creator of the film, like creator of Barbie. I'm eating vanilla now, but at the end of the movie, the most important thing about womanhood is going to see your gynecologist, which is important, but I was like, what? I was like, yo, where is this story going? Where am I? I keep saying it. If this movie focused on Barbie experiencing the real world, it could have been a completely different thing. Even if she brought that like feminist women empowerment thought, brought that attention to, you know, America Ferrera, that, you know, she's beautiful, that, you know, she can do anything, that the job she's working at, she doesn't have to be there. If the movie like switched to that, maybe it could have been something different. But even with that like plot switch where America Ferrera was trying to build up Barbie's self-esteem, I was like, where did that come from? Because I thought the focus was Barbie trying to help America Ferrera, and it switched to America Ferrera helping Barbie become Barbie. Here's another note, like, I have to say, this is my last one. I did not understand the parallel universes, the Barbie land and our world. How Barbie would get to the real world is she would ride her roller skates, then she would get on a bike, then a spaceship, a car, you know, just she would go through like certain steps to get into the real world, which I'm like, okay, that makes sense. But in return, she has to follow those same steps backwards, which to me doesn't make any sense. Because in the real world, that means if any of us are riding our roller skates, then any of us could have accidentally ended up in the Barbie world, because there were no clear instructions on how any of it worked. Like, even weird Barbie telling Barbie how it worked, she didn't completely understand. She just said, you'll get, once you get there, it'll just happen. Like, you'll figure out once you get there. You know, I like fantasy movies and I like fiction movies, but that little detail like threw me off. Because think about Narnia. To go to Narnia, you first have to find like the portal or the gateway. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. The wardrobe was the gateway into Narnia. But like, if you actually did your research, to enter into Narnia, you have to be selected. You have to be chosen. Like, the gateway only opens for certain people. It's a magical gateway. And the same way with returning back, it has to allow you to return back. And the same thing for Harry Potter. Like, do you remember the platform 9 3/4? Muggles, humans, we're not allowed to go into the platform. Like, we can't even see it. But those who are magical, those creatures, can see the pathway, can see, like, you know, the portal, can see the 9 3/4, and they can like walk straight into it, then enter into like this magical world. That little detail, because it was missing for Barbie, it kind of just lost me. But a lot of the movie, like I said, I thought I was eating strawberry, I was eating chocolate, it turned out to be vanilla. A lot of those like plot points and those nuances were just, it wasn't there. It was just a lot, that's what I'm saying, a lot of it just didn't make any sense. But I like the movie, the way the movie looked. I like the wardrobe, I like the feel, I love the musical number with the Kens. But you can have great parts in a movie, but when you look at it all together, it's a little bit everywhere. It was a little bit of a mess, which is kind of sad to me, because this movie could have just been a narrow straight line. It could have just been an easy pickup. But I don't know, it threw me off. But I still like the movie. I might go see it again to get like a deeper understanding of like the Kens. And I know the Ken, like, they were symbolizing women to an extent, and what women go through like in our world. So there's a whole bunch of deeper meanings to the movie, and that's why I'm not just going to just straight up and say this movie was horrible, it was garbage. But yeah, a great plot kind of builds a great story. But yeah, regardless, you know, if you're gonna see the movie, you're gonna see the movie. You can have your own thoughts and opinions. I don't think anyone should judge you for it. It's just, you know, it's your experience watching the movie, and whatever you took from it, that's what you took from the movie. But this is what I took from it, and man, it was everywhere. If you liked this video, this long detailing reaction, go ahead, share, like, save, make sure you subscribe, and I'll be here for the next reaction, review, or whatever video I find online. But I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in, and hopefully you guys have a great day. But no cap, I still am gonna go look for like a Barbie like sweater or a Barbie tank top. I tried to buy a Barbie beach towel at one of my stores like by my house, and it sold out so quickly, so I'm low-key upset because I wanted a Barbie beach towel. But I don't know, I'm gonna check on Amazon.